let's move to the story. This week, the eThekwini Municipality ramped up its efforts to keep Durban CBD clean. Illegal dumping and littering remains a serious challenge for the city, which has an impact on the economy and tourism. Economist Professor Bonke Dumisa has raised alarm bells in his recent Facebook post over the decay of the Durban inner city due to the significant health risk posed by even the degradation. Dumisa says he will close his private post office box at the Durban main post office by the end of October. So let's find out just how dire the situation is with the economic analyst, Professor Bonke Dumisa. Prof, always a pleasure speaking to you. A very good morning. It's quite sad when somebody has to break an old tradition of the utilization of a post box because you simply cannot take what is happening within the inner city as well as the lack of services that are being witnessed. But just from your sight and your insight, what can you tell us about what's actually happening in the experience of people on the ground?
Yes, what has been or is still happening in Durban as it is now is that Durban has just been suffocated by dirt and sludge, and there are many places which many people who were born in Durban just don't want to go to because they feel unsafe. And as I said in my post, I was now feeling very unsafe going to the Durban main post offices where the family, I mean, not just my own family, but even my father's family owns post boxes. So when going there, I was feeling unsafe, and they've got 6 different entrances. They closed all 5 and only one on the side of the road in Gardner Street is still open, and you feel very unsafe going there and unhealthy because, to use a very uncomfortable word, you feel like puking when you go through that entrance. So I am happy to say after that, because it was not an easy thing, because I don't make political statements. After that post and the take up by the various platforms of the media, the eThekwini went out of its way to try and address some of those hotspots that I highlighted. I'm yet to go to the post office to see if ever they've done anything there, but I am getting feedback from different quarters, even from people from far away from KwaZulu-Natal, saying thanks Bonke for having raised this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just uncomfortable that it has to force people to go out on social media and scream before eThekwini or government can do things. It's not healthy. But I'm happy at least they've come to the party, and I've been assured by people right in the council and their spokesperson and the one deputy city manager, and their photos all over of eThekwini municipality cars escorted by the eThekwini Metro Police to sort out different areas. So it's good, but it must not be just for PR exercise, just for the next few days. We will be monitoring them over the next 5 years. But I believe them that at least they mean well this time.
You know, Prof, this conversation in itself is disheartening. And it's disheartening from the place of, number one, it should never have gotten to a point where, and you like saying that politics and economics are like Siamese twins, and you don't like necessarily engaging in the politics of the country, but you were pushed to a point where you can no longer remain quiet about what is happening within the inner city of Durban. Number two, what is also disheartening is the fact that in order for something to be done, something had to be, you needed to scream. And that's not service delivery. Certainly that is not what South Africans vote for when they go and they place their X on that preferred candidate on the ballot paper. It's not service delivery. And I wonder if the likes of yourselves are speaking out, how many more people do not have a voice, and yet they are enduring and having to survive these kinds of gross living conditions. It says something about perhaps a reflection on who's leading us at the end of the day. It's wrong that you have to write and post and complain before something gets done, when clearly when you voted, especially at local government level, you voted thinking that the people that you voted for were going to give you the basics of service delivery.
I agree with you on that one. And the sad part about it is that then many people are voting with their feet. I am an advocate of the High Court, and I've seen many advocates in our chambers and elsewhere just moving out of the Durban CBD, and other lawyers and other professionals. And we've seen the number of international tourists coming to Durban diminishing and reducing by over 82%. Durban is preparing for the summer season where most of the people want to be in Durban. And under these circumstances, you are pushing them away. And some of us have been trying to lure people to Durban to say, come and enjoy life in Durban. So it has been disappointing. Let us hope that their efforts as it is now are not just the PR exercise, but they mean it this time. And many people have written to say, they doubt it, but I always give people the benefit of doubt.
Yeah. Prof, is there a sense of disillusionment amongst especially those who are, scholars such as yourselves, individuals who paved the way for, economic and political progress in the country, that what we had anticipated in the dawn of democracy is not what we're being given right now, 28 years into this democracy? I know that you are also making reference to Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, saying that you never thought that in post-apartheid South Africa we would actually come to witness this kind of lack of service delivery and lack of leadership for the people.
It is disappointing, and I must, as you are quoting me there, referring to Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart and No Longer It Is. I was blessed to be one of the people who studied in the United States of America and in the United Kingdom. And in both instances, after finishing my studies there, I came back to South Africa because I said I wanted to be part of the solution. And I would hate to regret it one day to say, maybe I should have just remained there like some of the people we left South Africa with to study in those places did. So that's why then I simply said, I'm not going to keep quiet. I'll never keep quiet when things are getting worse in front of our eyes. And I'm happy then that it has triggered something. I will be monitoring. I am not a politician. I am an economic analyst, and I follow trends. And if ever, I hope I won't be forced to resort to the same thing of screaming out loud.
Well, let's talk about the trends. What do the trends tell us when municipalities are decaying, when inner cities are sometimes really engrossed in rubble and engrossed in dirt and filth, and services are not being delivered? What economically now, what do the trends actually say to us about countries that allow their spaces to actually degenerate to such an extent?
People, not just tourists, people leave those cities. Everyone who knows Joburg knows that many people really don't want to go to the CBD, despite all the good efforts that Joburg City has been doing in order to bring people back there. So many people are moving to the outer areas of Joburg to say, yes, we can do business there. The same thing with Tshwane and Bloemfontein. So with Durban, as I said, many professionals are leaving, and I can tell you, an average professional who has offices in the Durban CBD pays over 120,000 rands a year at least to have their business in their offices there. So if ever just 100 of them leave the city and they say, well, we are going to be stationed, as many people have moved to Mhlanga and Balito, then it means the city is going to lose revenue here, and it's not guaranteed that it will still have that same revenue. Yes, in Mhlanga it will still be coming to them, but when it goes to Balito, then it's another council. So they must be wary of this thing, because when people leave the business, mainly the businesses, it means you are cutting down on your revenue. into the city, and then you'll be forced to push up the rates and the tariffs. And when you do that thing, you push people even more out, and it destroys the revenue base. And most cities, including Durban, are struggling with their income generation, and it's not good for the economy.
I hear you loud and clear, Prof. Before I let you go, in these instances, and I mean, we're just talking trends now, economic trends and the like, and social economic trends, do people become more despondent in these kinds of situations, right? If we continue to have this kind of degeneration of our living conditions, do we become more despondent and almost accept the status quo as a people? Or do we do the opposite and revolt? I've seen two sides almost of the coin. In some spaces, people become even more despondent and say, you know what, this is the government that we have, let's just live with it, or we find better economic opportunities outside of the country. And in other instances, you've got people saying, actually, hold on a second, we can change government here. If you don't want to live with us, if you don't want to abide, we can actually change and shift you so that you're no longer in power. In South Africa's kind of political and socioeconomic sphere, as you're observing society, what kind of people are we? Are we the ones that become despondent and accept? Or are we the ones that actually say, it's only a matter of time before we get you out of government?
It is the middle ground, because in most instances, people are realistic enough that you can change governments as much as you want, but if ever you've not changed the mindsets of both the politicians and the community, then things will not change. Because, for example, when you look at the Durban issue, it is not just a question of the local government not delivering on cleaning the city, etc. Even us as the residents are also careless. I've made the example that you drive behind a very expensive German sedan, SUV or SUV, and the people are driving in it right in the middle of West Street. They open the windows and throw out a bottle, a can of Coke, or even a bottle of Savannah. And you think, gosh, where did these people grow up? Don't they know that if you cannot take care of your immediate environment, there's no way in which you can take care of the world? We must all change. And when people sometimes say they are revolting then because they are angry, when they start burning tires and burning streets, then they destroy the very same infrastructure and create potholes. So we need everyone to have a sober mind in dealing with this thing and not rush into certain things which are not solutions, but which may cause even more problems.
We'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for your time, as always. The economic analyst, Professor Bonke Dumisa, just speaking here about Durban's inner city, saying that it's no longer safe. It no longer is what it used to be. In fact, a shadow of its former self. And looks